It's Monday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Elijah, Nima, Akashat, Zubiri. How are you today?
I'm fine. Yesterday was a dramatic Sunday. Sundays should be a restful day, but not yesterday. I want to commiserate the people of South Iyakpi Kingdom in Edo State on the passing of the Chief Imam, Malam Busari Danesi, and my mother's family. He's my mother's my mother's elder brother, and he's the Chief Imam. He passed yesterday. He was buried in the evening. May Allah grant him Jannah, and that's brought in the drama from morning till I got home still tired. Just want to rest. So,
how's
your mom doing now?
The Idonagi of South Ibia as well. My heart is with the people of South Ibia. Yes.
How's mommy doing?
She took it with the way she takes it. My mom is a very emotional person.
Right.
So drama and stories and all of that yesterday, but we prayed and it was fine.
I'll just stay with her. How are you doing, Mariam? How was your weekend?
My weekend was a lot of activities. So I had gone for a wedding, and then from there I was supposed to go to NCF, their green ball. Unfortunately, I just could not make it. I just came down with this headache. I was supposed to go with BC. BC cancelled on me because her body was too whatever.
Old age is worrying us.
So, I missed that, and, that is very dear to my heart. My husband was there, thankfully. So at least he was there for both of us. Yes.
Good. How are you doing?
Fine. It was a very tiring, would I say, weekend, yes. I was just feeling, especially that Saturday, I was feeling all types of ways. I couldn't even explain how I was feeling, so I had to just stay back home. I couldn't even get to my store on Saturday, but I had someone there who was looking at. We had planned, we were going to church. Our guy was bubbling up and down on Saturday, and I bring out your clothes. All the children, bring out your clothes. Make sure you iron this. No, you're not wearing this. Everybody, we're settled. Only by 6 a.m., I had my husband calling the mom. Mommy, I'm having a headache. I cannot make it. Immediately called the call. I said, brother, please, let's lie down and go back to bed. You will feel better. So by like 11, when we woke up, we felt a lot better. So we were able to do a little hangout with the kids. They come home every Fridays, and go back on Monday. So we wanted to have that family time. And that was all we had.
So I was in Ibadan. So, I went for a wedding. So the controller of customs in charge of the FCT command, Engineer Adebisi, and his wife, Mrs. Yetunde Adebisi, gave out their daughter, Tobiloba Adebisi, to a wonderful man. And it was a fantastic wedding. We had such a great time on Saturday. He's so proud of his daughter. He goes on and on about her credentials. They got out first class, and she came in from the US, and she schooled in I think she did her first degree in Nigeria, went to the US for her master's. But she and her husband are so successful, and he's such a proud father, and he wanted everything to be special. He just wanted me to be there. Like, I thought I was going to go on the MC, but just came in, just look pretty. He kept saying, stand beside me, stand beside me. He just wanted me to be in that wedding. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. He said, thank you. May God bless the union and, and increase the family. He's such a proud father. I could see what's oozing out of him. Like, see, yes, now my daughter is married. Congratulations to the entire family.
Congratulations.
I really enjoyed myself. Let's go on a quick break now. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the paper. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to start with The Nation. CBN revises measures to cut food and energy inflation. United Nigeria Airlines explains diversion of Lagos-Abuja plane to Asaba. Sheibu's declaration renews Edo 2024 battle with Obaseki. $134 million African Development Bank loan will boost dry season farming and food security. Adeleke's absence on anniversary day raises dust in Osun. NDLEA swoops on drug party, arrests organizers in Oshogbo. And FG woos foreign investors with 100% forex repatriation. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Drama story. So Edo again, there's drama. According to The Nation, the deputy governor has decided to continue with his governorship ambition as against, his earlier stance of loyalty pledge to his, how would I call it, his boss. So he had booked this hotel in Benin for where he would declare his ambition, and the Eternal Hotel in Aigobasiwi Crescent of Ipoka Road in Benin, Jare, and the governor's Finish Well Group also booked the same hotel. Now, the Finish Well Group booked the hotel for 7:30, while the deputy governor booked the hotel for 8 a.m. His group insists that that Finish Well Group went to book it to set them off, but they will not backstep. But another paper carried it that the hotel has refunded the deputy governor's money and told him about the clash. And so we're here to hear from him, but the nation's account is that he's insisting on continuing with his ambition. He's from the Edo North and he thinks it's time for them now. But he's here to get his boss's support for this ambition.
So this hotel thing, I thought was just an honest mistake, but I've been hearing all sorts of explanations about what could have happened.
Nations say it's not his honest mistake.
Okay.
Another story.
Yes, I have the operatives of NDLEA the weekend raided a lounge in Oshogbo, Ogun State. So the reason they had raided this particular lounge is said that they had planned to throw a party, and they called it Unholy Alliance for Stoners and Drunkards. So this party was supposed to be where different types of illicit substances were going to be sold and consumed by the patrons. NDLEA heard this, waited for them until, the organizers had started going into the venue, and then they were arrested. And during the arrest, they recovered illicit substances of abuse and drug paraphernalia from them. They listed names of very young, people that were arrested. Ikoto Molayo, 25, Fola Olabode, 30, and Akorede Aduni Ajibola, 22. The owners of the lounge also had been called in for questioning, to find out if they were aware of this sort of party that was supposed to happen. They said earlier as well, they had raided, this was a Thursday, a place called Area 5 Forest Reserve in Ile-Ife, where operatives recovered 156 kilograms of cannabis sativa. I don't know what Nigerians think. This is not a banana republic, as some of us like to describe Nigeria, where you think you can throw this sort of parties and boldly even put it out there. But thank God for the hard work of the NDLEA, this was curbed. But also, it shows to us that there must be a group of people that have been doing this for a while, and they've become so confident and, to throw it openly.
Okay, let me take the major headlines. So CBN yesterday, through the CBN, the governor of the CBN, that's Governor Olayemi Cardoso, speaking yesterday, saying specifically that the Apex Bank was revising the inflation management framework to address the challenges of rising and unstable prices and foster stable and sustainable economy. He said the CBN was well aware of the damage inflation has caused to living conditions and businesses, assuring that the new inflation targeting framework will be effective in anchoring the Apex Bank's agenda of price stability. Specifically, according to the report here, said it's crucial that we prioritize price stability to safeguard the livelihood of our fellow Nigerians, because right now Nigeria's headline inflation rate rose for the 10th consecutive month to 27.33% last month against 27.72 in September, and food inflation stuck to an 18-year high to 31.5%. That is not sustainable. Okay.
Yeah, so the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Senator Abubakar Kyari, said at the weekend that dry season farming offers Nigeria a unique opportunity to harness its untapped potential and diversify the nation's food production capacities. He spoke during the kick-off ceremony of National Agricultural Growth Scheme, an agro pocket in Hadija, Jigawa State. And according to him, he said $134 million loan from the African Development Bank, secured by the federal government, will boost food security through this dry season farming. And he said the project plan is to support between 150,000 to 250,000 wheat farmers with 50% input subsidy to cultivate between 200,000 to 250,000 hectares, and also expects to yield 1,250,000 tons of wheat. They also said that they were going to be supporting them with a lot of, seeds that are, good seats that would help them. And the idea is for them to be able to make about 20% increment or yield compared to last season. Also talked about how they are going to invest in irrigation, infrastructure, and the likes of it.
Okay, moving on quickly now to the Punch. Mega banks boast 10 trillion naira capital base. Others seek fresh investors. Zenith Bank unveils street Christmas lights, praise for peace. Armed robbers invade Ogun Poly communities, shoot students. Lawmakers push for 32 new federal varsities. Lecturer shortage hits varsities as ASUU blames JAPA IPPIS. And governor's bid. Hotel cancels Obaseki's deputy venue booking. Companies raise salaries by 4.6 trillion naira in 6 months, says NBS. Christmas is in the air as Zenith Bank has started the Yuletide season by illuminating Ajose Adeogun. We always look forward to that. I take my kids there. I'm pretty excited. According to the statement on Sunday, the light-up ceremony was performed by the Group Managing Director of Zenith Bank, Mr. Ebenezer Onyegu, on Saturday. He stated that this year's light-up ceremony, the 17th of its kind, was a corporate social responsibility by the bank. Specifically said, today, as we turn on the Christmas light with his wife, of our founder and chairman of Mrs. K. Ovia in our midst, we hope that this will activate the spirit of Christmas in the minds of everyone. We pray that the ambience of the light, warmth, love, of joy, fulfillment, hope, will bring peace to the nation. So,
man, how do they light up this? Is it solar? Do you know? Or are they paying
I doubt
NEPA?
Especially can't be
solar.
It has to be solar.
But the head office is there.
I was there.
Generator.
I drive there every Sunday because my church is in that area. Oh, my Lord, I'm looking forward to it.
Already.
I mean, it's a tradition. Yeah, it's a tradition for my family. We must drive there and drive around.
Momo loves it too. I take her. She loves it. I can't wait to take her again. Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our review. I think we have a story for one.
Yes, so yes. I have a human interest story. Some suspected armed robbers invaded the Bararemo and Oderemo communities, which is hosting students from the Gateway Polytechnic in Remo North local government area of Ogun State. They said the students were shot, and some of the students allegedly sexually molested. According to the story, said robbers stormed the community around 1 a.m. 2 Fridays ago, and also last Sunday. They just drove in, shooting sporadically into the air. They entered the student hostels. They carted away with their belongings, molested some of the female students, and shot some others, leaving them in critical condition. So, the Punch correspondent was able to get some of the students, showing them with their injuries and some of the damaged window shields that, pulled through their bodies. And, some of while they carried out the investigation, they realized that one of the reasons these robbers have been coming into that community and going to student hostels is because the Polytechnic itself does not have in-house hostels for the students. So most of the students stay off campus, and this is becoming rampant. It's been happening one too many times.
Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still reviewing Punch. What's the story?
Okay, I have the federal lawmakers pushing for 32 new federal varsities. So, in fact, this Punch has a funny twist to it. It said that lawmakers have no fewer than 32 bills tabled before the Senate and the House of Reps asking for the creation of new universities, polytechnics, colleges of education since the inauguration of this assembly. And they said the Punch took a report of that Nigeria has a total of 52 federal universities. The official data from the National Universities Commission revealed that 63 state universities and 147 private universities also are in the country. And the National Board for Technical Education put the number of our federal polytechnics at 40, state-owned polytechnics at 49, private at 76, and 70 federal and state-owned colleges of health, while the number of private colleges of health is 17. Yet, we had the Speaker and his Deputy Speaker leading the pack for, approval of 32 new federal institutions in the country. Of course, ASUU is telling them, don't even try establish new institution when you cannot fund the existing ones already. But they said that the Speaker of the House House of Assembly, the Federal House of Reps was asking for the establishment of the Federal University of Technology, Kaduna, while the Deputy Speaker his own was asking for the establishment of Federal University of Medical and Health Sciences, Bende in Abia. So everybody just wants school for a backyard.
Simple.
But how are we going to fund? Nobody talks about
exactly.
that.
Even the
These
quality of the
bills
schools
are passed. And without talking about the funding of this institution, shows the lawmakers.
Which brings me to my own story. Universities in Nigeria are battling a severe shortage of staff as thousands of lecturers leave the tertiary institutions to seek greener pastures in foreign lands amid high numbers of retirements and in the varsities. So Punch talked to a few of these universities. We have Usmanu Danfodiyo University, Sokoto, said about 100 lecturers have left the university. Wow. Federal University Gusau, Zamfara disclosed that the institution is in need of 1,000 lecturers to fill the vacancies. Abeokuta Federal University Agriculture, 350 academic vacancies. So many vacancies across all our universities. And some of the reasons why they think we have this shortages, one is that, yes, many of them are leaving for different countries. Two, the process of employing new lecturers is quite cumbersome and bureaucratic. So it will take many stages. They say that you'll have to, as a senior professor, you have to, get a vice chancellor needs to get clearance from about 7 federal government agencies and parastatals before a single staffer is recruited. And that's the same for Unijos. University of Jos said that the last time that they did a proper recruitment was in 2017. Other universities have said that as well, that they haven't recruited in a long time. So people are leaving to other countries. Staff that have retired or died, their positions haven't been filled. And we have vacancies across in thousands and thousands. So while you're talking about that, be aware of what is going on with the current universities right now.
In the related stories in different papers, but since we're still talking about universities, the president has spoken through the Minister of Niger Delta, Engineer Abubakar Momo, at the University of Benin's 48th convocation ceremony. And the president expressed confidence in the proposed policy of giving back autonomy to the university. According to he said, the university autonomy will no doubt transfer the responsibilities of performance directly to individual institutions rather than the current state of uncertainty. So obviously the country is considering the policy of where universities can be self-funding. So in addition to whatever the federal government is giving to you, you also must be able to generate your own, because all this no salaries payments or infrastructure, it's really difficult for government to do it equally across all the states. So they definitely need to start considering the policy of funding. Okay, let's move on quickly now to Vanguard. Hardship, more Nigerians opt for loans to make ends meet. FG reviews draft policy on local vaccine manufacturing. FG Malls full autonomy of universities. Serap to World Bank suspend loans to states over misspending. FG approves National Data Bank of Education targets $9.5 million. Local refineries to begin productions soon, says Tinubu. And how to prevent electoral shambles by Atahiru Jega. Okay, which story?
Let's take Serap. So Serap has written, the Deputy Director, Serap Kolawole Oluwadare, has written to the World Bank and its partners, and he says they should stop giving loans to the 36 states over, of course, allegations of mismanaging public funds, including those loans that states have obtained. He said that the World Bank should probe the spending of $8.5 billion in loans and other facilities given to the 36 governors in Nigeria. And he said that they cannot continue to do this because, of course, it is neither appropriate nor responsible lending to be giving loans to these states only for them to be misspent. He said the World Bank lending for these states may create the impression of complicity in the allegation of mismanagement or diversion of public funds by the states, which may include loans from the World Bank and its partners and federal allocations. According to the Debt Management Office, the total public debt portfolio for the country's 36 states and the FCT stands at 9.17 trillion, and that of the federal government's public debt portfolio is 78.2 trillion. So we should revisit this loaning and borrowing issue.
So I have the federal government has taken steps to expedite local vaccine manufacturing and halt its importation. I'm taking it slowly. because really through, I was trying to see what other things, but it seems like this is really a policy issue, just to say that we have finally come up with a plan which was developed in 2021, and it's a national plan for vaccine research and development in the country. They say it's the first of its kind in Africa. It highlights the role and relevant stakeholders in the vaccine landscape. We had the Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Tunji Alausa, just saying that federal government over the years has done so much, to make this a reality. Please, at this point, it's still policy they're talking about. So policy that allows for our country to be able to prepare its own vaccines. So this will bring a stop to importation of vaccines. And we have other stakeholders, especially I missed the person's name here. Okay, so this is Dr. Adigwe. He's the DG of NIPRD. He says that Africa is no longer interested in tokenistic interventions such as fill-finished products, but has become interested in building dependable, equitable, and veracious partnership that will enable the continent to undertake full R&D for the production of vaccines, he stressed. So really, it's just this policy will now allow us, it would give us like backing to start our own research and development of our own local vaccines. So this is the first step.
Right, go ahead. A quick story before you go. So President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has already hinted that some local refineries will soon begin production of petroleum products. He said this immediately after he resumed office, and he said at least the Port Harcourt refinery will resume by December, will resume operations by December 2023, that's this year. And, he was at the 11th convocation ceremony of Michael Okpara University of Agriculture, Umudike, where they dropped the hint by the person who represented him, and he said he understands that immediately we start with our local refineries, these exorbitant prices of fuel that we are paying for would drastically reduce, and he's hoping that all of the refineries will also aid the reduction of what we are paying right now. He understands all the sufferings we're going through, but he's asking that we be a little bit patient, that some of the policies will begin to yield very soon, and that will,
Just a reminder to Nigerians of what we read, right? Last week, they said by December 2023,
the Port Harcourt
will be ready.
Yes.
By first quarter, January next year, Warri will be ready. And by next year, 2024, Kaduna will be ready. So we have stamped it in our brain.
He's still saying it again.
I'm just saying, we are not forgotten.
When we took that story last week, a tweet came from where he's saying, every government, I've always said, the refineries will soon pick up.
Yeah.
So let us see.
Let's give benefit of the doubt.
And what I hear is that with what's on ground, this Port Harcourt thing may not work out at the time.
December.
Yes.
They're saying it again
with
today.
what's on ground, that if what you open your eye, go there and see. Wow. It does not look like it will happen.
Well, let's give them a benefit of the doubt. We have 4 weeks to go. We'll see how that goes. Any story in Tribune?
Okay, I have
a story.
Flight, I think.
Have I even taken the stories?
No,
Nigerian Tribune, why CBN governor is right on bank recapitalization, says expert. ECOWAS condemns attempt in coup in Sierra Leone. Suspense in Plateau over move to inaugurate assembly. NJC panel meets tomorrow to pick 11 new Supreme Court justices. Multiple bank charges amid rising inflation worrying Nigerians. And Petroleum Minister weighs into LPG supply price hike challenges. Okay,
so I have the NJC. So according to the Tribune, the federal NJC has recommended 22 justices to be, appointed to the Supreme Court, and out of them, 11 from the appeal court will be looked into tomorrow to be promoted or appointed to the Supreme Court. Shook you off that.
Okay. So let me tell a story in.
Customers are worried about, that bank customers are worried about the multiple charges that they are paying for. They are paying so many charges. They said it comes to commissions, value-added tax, telco charges, stamp duty, transfer charges, amongst others. And this is, getting deep into their resources. So when you have money and you do a few transfers, your money drastically reduces. And this is, getting also into the revenue of the government. They said the government is a part of the people making money from these charges. So they call it electronic money transfer levy, which gets into government coffers. It says that a revenue of 14.102 billion electric money transfer levy was part of FAC distributable revenues out of the total 1.1 trillion revenue shared in August 2023 by the Federation Account Allocation Committee. And, you know, they are also expecting that it will keep increasing as the year goes by. But this is not working for Nigerians. And so Nigerians are calling the federal government to reduce some of these politics that they are called anti-people's policies that are not working for the people, considering all the things that are going through and what people are suffering as a result of the removal of fuel subsidy. Is there a way they can, you know, reduce some of these charges that is being deducted from people's accounts when they make transfers? One customer said something different, said in a place like Ghana, they're actually paying more than we are paying here. That here, government just collects a flat rate of 50 naira per every transaction that you make. But a place like Ghana, you pay like 1.something% of the total amount of money that you make. But he's not saying that a Nigerian government will do the same thing here, but it's just that people need to understand that they too need to be able to make money from the electronic transfers that they carry out.
Okay, we have to run.
These transfers that they do not, they don't give the telcos their money. The telcos are in the
federal government.
That's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we want our hot topic of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we read in the papers earlier that our lawmakers are pushing for the establishment of 32 federal institutions amidst the shortage of lecturers, possibly as a result of JAPA. And many of us are looking at it in different ways. Should we have more universities? Do we need more universities? And if we're getting more universities, what are we going to do about the lecturers who, many of them are relocating, moving to other countries? And there are shortages of lecturers. I think Mariam took that story. One particular university needs about over 300 lecturers to handle a specific, I think it was agriculture you said, I believe. But the point is that many of our lecturers are moving on, and yet our lawmakers are pushing for more universities. What are your thoughts on this? I can also link that to the report from the president, who said that they're also looking to see how introduce a policy to get the university to become more self-reliant. What are your thoughts and general thoughts on this? You can call us on the numbers on your screen, 080-081-076-41679-090-241-63440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. Nima, would you like to jump in here?
Okay, so
what are your thoughts on this?
Yes, the lawmakers and all the speakers have made, you know, political the need for university and tertiary education in the country. Sadly, I know that in those days, tertiary educations were opened in states to help, you know, broaden the minds of the indigenes where the universities are located or the state in question. But we have since passed that stage. We have enough, I believe, more than enough federal institutions or higher institutions in the country, and we don't need more. What we should be talking about now is how to secure and lock down funding so that we bring them to be at par with, you know, international options that our people now opt to go. I have always thought proudly of Nigerian universities, but I don't see even government officials talk so proudly of Nigerian federal institutions across the country. When it's time, when the person is talking, he'll say, when I went to Unibe, for instance, but when it's time for university education for the children, they're talking of abroad options. And it's not good because that gives them options, and of course they will not deal seriously as they should with what we have right now. Also, universities across the world are solution centers. You're studying to fill in local solutions. These days, we're just going to school to get the degrees. You know, to be able to say, I have paper, I have, you know. Most people, we need to fine-tune our education to solve our problems. Our lecturers and projects should be bringing out solutions that are Nigerian, that government can back. If government cannot fund, how can they back such projects, you know?
Well, let me come to the other ladies, because I know that last week we had a lawmaker here who told us that every petition that that is raised in various constituencies must be brought to the House. So is it possible that these lawmakers are saying, listen, my constituents have said they need the university. It's one of the things that I've been asked to do. I must put forward the need to build a university for my own community. So maybe that's why they're not looking at it. They're not looking at it based on, do we need it as a nation, or is this an obligation I must make to my people? What are your own?
Personally, I don't have problems with more universities, more tertiary institutions. As more widespread as they can be, I like that. You know, many people have to travel quite a distance to get to to be able to go to school. So that's not the problem. My problem is for what we have on ground right now. What are we doing about them? They're in such an appalling condition where the physical structures themselves, the lecturers, as we read in the papers, the vacancies available, constant strike. You're in school for a 4-year course. You're there for 8 years. There's just so many issues right now. And so my take would be, before you start building new structures and setting up new structures, let's fix what's on ground. Let's have a proper system that would allow for the other ones, the new ones, when they come in, a seamless flow. We cannot have these things multiplied by 32 again, so that's my problem. And universities, when they keep asking for this autonomy, I hope they understand what it means. I hope they don't, that it involves research, writing papers. I was just recently reading about this young black boy abroad that had discovered or had come up with this body cream that helped with skin cancers. And in that research, he worked closely with lecturers of a particular university. University lecturers, do they understand that it's beyond writing, writing thesis or giving people handouts and paying for that? We need to also see that we have the caliber of lecturers that understand what is expected of them. The university administration, when they ask for autonomy, what exactly are they asking for? This will come with a huge responsibility. Are they ready for that? There's no holding your cap and going back to federal government asking for bailout or anything like that. So we need to be serious, draw out a plan, and then we follow it. Once we have sorted that out, then of course, bring the universities, bring the polytechnics. We need that, as there's so many Nigerians that write exams yearly, and just a few are able to get in. There's thousands of Nigerians that wait year in, year out, waiting for an opportunity to be able to get. So we definitely need more institutions, but working institutions.
All right, so I was going to put out a few data here. So Nigeria has a total of 52 federal universities. This is from the National Universities Commission. 63 state universities, 147 private universities. The federal polytechnics, about 40 of them. The state-owned 49 and private 76. There are 70 federal and state-owned colleges of health, while the number of private colleges of health are 17. So still, numbers is really small compared to many countries. Yeah. What are your thoughts on BC on this?
I think when people make a request, the leaders must weigh which requests must be put forward at the time that it comes. Not everything a child wants will be given to the child. Not everything you desire, you won't get everything you desire at the time you desire it, because the people who are supposed to be wiser and more knowledgeable will weigh what your desires are and say, okay, right now, this is not where we should put our energy. Can you pause on this? Let's fix this. What the university system needs is an overhaul. The university system in Nigeria so far hasn't given us the solutions they were meant to bring to us. Some of us did our masters in international schools abroad, and we know how the emphasis is on creating solutions with what you're studying. We need to begin to ask ourselves questions. What solutions have we been able to bring out from the universities? We have people who are suffering in agriculture, for instance. We're still struggling to be able to preserve and store some of our perishable goods. What solutions has the probably College of Agriculture or university or students who have studied agriculture, what have they brought to the table to help us tackle that issue? Local solutions, or not we want to import this and import that. What have they been able to bring? We have medical doctors today we're still asking ourselves, have we been able to even produce vaccines? Are we making research to, find a way to infuse our herbal medicine, the things that we have right now? We're not really solving solutions or solving problems. We just have people who graduate from schools, who have the certificate. I'm a graduate here. You ask them to come and write, or to even present. You present them with probably people who studied engineering and all of that. They don't even understand some of the machines. They have not even seen some of the machines in the classroom. We need an overhaul of the university system. We need to upgrade our university system. We need to ensure that we have lecturers who are abreast with the jobs of the future. Most of the things we have in our system is obsolete, and we're thinking of creating more universities to do what? Our classrooms in the universities are not even looking good. They are not equipped with, standard tools for teaching and facilities, and we want to create more. For what? All right. So it will boost the ego of a lawmaker to say we succeeded in having a university in our backyard. But what are you going to churn out from that university?
All right, let me take this call. Good morning. Thanks for calling.
Hello, good morning.
You're live.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please.
My name is Abeokuta. I'm speaking from Jobs. You see, I'm in support of your colleague that just talked just now. You see, Nigeria is a country of jokers, and I think the reasons why all these senators or other members are calling for establishment of more universities is just cheap. It's just to score cheap political points. You see, the ones we have, what have we done with it? I am a lecturer, and I will tell you a story of myself. I studied in the UK, and while in the UK, the money I, these 20 hours work, the money I earn, working from Monday to Friday is much more than what a professor earns in the country today. And I can tell you that as a senior lecturer, what I earn as salary cannot even take me home. So the point is not about setting more universities. The point is about making the universities we have now to work. Another example I will give to you is that, like one of your colleagues said, publishing papers. It's not as if we don't write. It's not as if we don't publish papers, but for us to be able to publish papers in established good journals that we call Q1, Q2, Q3 journals, after writing, you need money, what we call publication fees. And these publication fees are in dollars, 400, 500. We cannot afford it. For me, I felt it's just a means, what the senators are saying is just a means for them to, to be able to score cheap political gain. And apart from that,
Mr. Adeoju, let me stay with you for a moment, because since you're also a lecturer, many would argue that many universities abroad have support. They have funding, not necessarily government. Private companies or private people do support their research into certain things. So if we all, like as Nigerians, we always look cap in hand, okay, wait for government to just give us something. We keep wanting to take from the government. Don't you think that if our university is going to be fixed, it's not for us to just sit and wait for government to give us the funding, but we must also involve the private sector. The private sector must also be willing to invest or to support certain academics into certain solutions, like Bisi spoke earlier. So don't you think it's a two-way street, that which instead of us just waiting for government to fix universities, shouldn't the people themselves to be willing to support the Nigerian universities to be more solution-driven rather than just the opposite?
Yes, of course you're right. Yes, of course you're right. There's a disconnect between the private industry and the university. I've not seen the situation where most of these private companies, banks, pharmaceutical companies, put money on table or even endow what we call professorial chairs or putting money for research. We don't have it. I've not seen a lot of that. Recently, I can't remember now, I think there was this popular politician in Nigeria who donated millions of pounds to a university in the United Kingdom. And for me, it's so terrible. I mean, charity begins at home. Your university in your country is bad. You're not doing it because this is the university that trained you before you became what you are today. So if you're not investing into your local university and you are taking that money abroad to invest, I think for me, it's a very terrible thing.
Thank you very much, Mr.
As far as I'm concerned.
Thank you very much.
Adeoju, are you?
Oh, you wanted to?
Yes, I just wanted to ask him, this autonomy that they are asking for, you know, what would it mean for them? What?
I think it's government that is proposing it. I'm not sure because I'm not sure ASUU that
ASUU has been asking.
That's why the
Asking for
universities,
autonomy. Oh, interesting.
They're the ones asking
and
for
I think they
autonomy.
gave the
They want to be able to manage their resources by themselves. So government, give us the fund you want to give us, but remove your eye.
Yeah.
Don't tell us how to spend it. Don't get your bureaucratic bottleneck involved.
I get that, but you know, it also came out during the time when we were discussing IPPIS. So for me, I just want to make sure that this is not a way about the money, because in Nigeria it's always about the money. So now this money is now our own, and then once you get the money, then what do you do with it?
Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing universities, and we have Chief Ago on the phone. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
You're
How
live.
are you?
Go ahead, please.
You are talking of the suggestions or what the speaker and the leadership are saying.
Yeah.
I, for one, am not in support of establishing more universities.
Okay.
We have more than enough. And since 2000, from the session of Tuesday Live, I've been talking on establishing of modern industries, getting industries, cottage industries that can employ people who come out from schools. Instead of them to talk of how can we establish industries in our local areas, in their local government, in same way as in small government, that these ones that invest, when they come out, they have a place to lay hand, they can be employed. Nigeria has become a productive country rather than a consumption country. Why are they not talking the thing that can benefit for others? Will it mean that you come to a place, if you establish that invest at Bende, I know the place, how many people will go to invest from there? What will be the benefit of people instead of getting industries? I'm asking that the government should change the orientation of people. And again, the lecturers we talk, there are many. Some of them are theoretical. It's just like clerks. You produce clerks too. You don't produce those who can affect, who can bring something that can be benefit to this country. And then what are we talking of education? In other places, if you come out as a university student, you may be there producing, you may have your patency, and people will also provide for you. But when you don't produce, when you don't do anything, I know this vaccine you are taking off now, I'm the person who bought those things in tests that they are using today. I want to ask the government and our sector, please concentrate on producing industries. The money they share every month.
Let me be sure I get you.
Finally.
I want to engage you.
Yes, please.
I want to engage you. Usually we are taught that government's job is not to create industries, but to facilitate, to create an enabling environment for industries like people like you and I to come up and then flourish and build companies and employ Nigerians. So why do you think it should be government creating industries for us to be more productive?
Who has the money? Is it not government? Who are the politicians? The salaries they earn every month. Is it not good for you them to use the service office? The money they share every month, like this month was 930 billion, that was for 1.1 trillion. Can they use part of that money and establish cottage? Because no individual will do it, and they will be surprised. The condition is not easy for one. And let us call it like China, what is happening in China. Every room is costing.
Thank you, Mr. Ago. Mr. Ago is the average Nigerian saying, listen, these government people, they have money. So every Nigerian believes that there's plenty money available. Yeah. Just use that money to build industries. And that's the thing.
But also, government can also set up industries and then make them, sell them out later.
Or even manage it.
Like
yes,
Nitel?
or manage it. Yes,
Like-
but
like
didn't they
Nitel?
sell them to their parties?
So the point is-
Most of these government institutions, companies, why they failed is that the process of selling them out was corrupt in
They
the
tell you
first
that
place.
government has no business doing business. That's what
That's what we don't want. That's wrong.
But
Okay,
government
please,
has
do the correct
more
thing.
funds to do business. We are all in business in one way or the other. The loans to start businesses, I have been trying to expand. It's not moi. But if I was in government has these funds. Would government make it possible? Lagos State built their biggest rice mill in Lagos. Will one individual be able to do that just like that without being Dangote? Think of the number of facilities you would take from financial institutions to get there. But government has done that. Government can decide, okay, we've done this. Let's get all the farmers to come here and mill, which was the plan, or do something else. But government has the funds. Now, the issue for me with all these extra universities that want to create, all these extra higher institutions want to create, is how do we see, what have we learned from the ones that have failed? Simple. The Unsukas, the Akoka, the big institutions, go to their hostels. What are the facilities and lecture halls looking like? I went to last
labs.
we had Molade Okoya Thomas, we had so many big names donating centers within the school. The sports center is from donated by Molade Okoya Thomas. We had big areas donated by private individuals. But what is government doing? Government is just there, not doing what they need to do. Last week is better today. Let's leave Lagos. Let's talk about other places. Yes, it's true. No, it's true. Go there. I went to school there. I went to school 99. I know what it was then. It was within my very before we had a law library. So I know how they are upgrading. But when you see the inventory that they bring from other states, hostels, from Usuka, somebody did a video, and the hostels, the ceiling was falling on the students. You expect students to stay in those places. Why do you think the politicians are looking for options for their kids to go out?
Okay, let me take this call. I'll come to you, BC. Kayode, thanks for calling. You're live.
Yeah, good morning. This is
morning.
Yeah, I am happy that this topic comes this morning. Actually, I listened to the lecturer, Mr. Danfodiyo and Chief Ago. Now, this is my advice. The politicians know what to do. Like they say, they want to do some of these things to put their names on record that they're going to use this and that, did that. But if they listen today, it will get better for them. But if they don't listen, let me advise them. Let them go and repair the prisons. Repair it, because in the future, somebody will come and send them there. And what they do now, I can assure you, they won't go scot-free. Somebody will come one day, will vote in a president one day, that will deal with all the situations, whether they like it or not. The future is waiting for them, or their children. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Kayode. I didn't hear you much. Yes, you can say.
Government has no business doing business is our government's way of running away from responsibility and accountability.
It's not government that headed from us.
They always say it. You're not the only. They always say it. Government has no business doing business. In Singapore, government is involved in the business. In the housing, they create houses for people, they manage it, everything goes through, even their taxi, as little as their taxi is run by the government. So we cannot keep saying government has no business doing business. We should vote in people who can handle that aspect of business, because we need to grow. That's excusing business, excusing the government from their responsibility, what we are supposed to hold them for. That's on one side. So while we are waiting for governments to take up their space and do business, at least some parts of business for us, so that we can have a better life, that's on one side. Secondly,
let's stay on that for a second.
Yeah, can I just add this? That's what we were saying.
Well, I wanted to start on Singapore matter, because Singapore has 5.4 million. That's less, that's not even Ikeja.
It doesn't matter.
It matters, because we have over 200 million people going to manage. Government cannot manage 200 million people. So let's not
looking at federal government here. We have state government.
Where's the state government getting the money?
Let's not compare apples and oranges.
Yes, I just also wanted to add that maybe we should not say government has no business. Maybe we should be saying for Nigeria should not have business running business. We have tried government running business. It has failed us in many ways. Yeah. And I understand what you're saying, that when we say that, it may come across to government that, okay, we'll take our hands and run away from responsibilities. What we're saying to government when we say this is that do your responsibility of making sure you're creating an enabling environment for business to thrive. That's it, simple. For industries to thrive. The last administration, they were doing a lot on
ease of doing business.
Yes, ease of doing business. That's what we need to see more government doing. when Nigerians call and say they are paying people a lot of money, your salaries are a lot, it's not, all they're saying is give us an environment where we are able to earn such monies and we too can make the investments. It seems that all the money in Nigeria ends up in governance, and we've seen it. Our budget, a huge chunk of it is about paying salaries. So we need to see monies like that go into places where it will allow for Nigerians reach their potential. Yeah, so that's the difference. I do not agree with government, because government cannot do it. I cannot reach everywhere.
Okay, so we are still the same people that will get into government. As an individual, I am doing business right now. Tomorrow I get into government, and because there's a cliche that we cannot handle business, I go there and I mess it up, because after all, government has no business doing business. So we must be able to hold our government accountable. While we are waiting for you to create that enabling environment, which is taking you forever to create, can you also be adding to your KPI your ability to hold a business and run it? If you need technocrats, get them. That's why when it comes into political space, there's a mix. You have technocrats, you have politicians. The people who are doing the politics should play the politics. The people who are technocrats should do the job. They should know that they are responsible to Nigerians to manage the resources that they are given. Nobody will excuse you that because you are in government, you cannot handle business. We have been failing because it seems like we have given them a free pass. Once you're in government, you cannot handle this business. And then they get in there, and all the brain that they had before they get in there, they lose it.
Okay.
So they can do, we can do both. Let's hold them accountable to doing both.
Okay, fine.
While we're waiting for your enabling environment, we have been waiting since that one has not happened.
Okay, wait.
How long are we going to wait?
We have actually waited longer because Nigerian government actually flipped it. They've been doing business for years.
Yes.
And we have actually learned from that. So that's we're coming from.
Not do it well now.
Let's give them a KPI. Well, I'm saying that we're coming.
Let me give a concrete. We're here, all of us, talking about NMPCL.
Yeah.
And we're talking about how, and then we heard when independent marketers were going to join in because NMPC cannot handle that business alone. Right. So that's what we mean by government cannot handle it alone. Sometimes when we use these words, it's such a huge blanketed word that we don't understand what it means daily. Yeah. If when telecoms, when it came in, we're also excited because what does it mean? This is what it means. You and I, when it works, it means that you and I can have phones. Do you remember what NITA was like? Do you remember the problems that we had sitting there? Because how many people can be employed by government to run that business? So that's all we're asking. Give us an enabling environment, and then we'll hold you accountable for that.
Nigerian Airways went down.
Yes, Nigerian
Airways went down.
Because they ran it down, and there were no consequences for it.
See, there's no day. It's us. Listen.
The people who were in charge, don't generalize by saying us. I was not employed in that office.
I say, okay.
The people who were employed in the office should be held responsible. They ran it down.
A second. We'll come back to that because we'll take Nigerian Airways, for example. We'll come back to that. Go ahead.
That was where I was going.
Yes.
So government can do business, but Nigerians happen to those businesses. The moment I hold an office within government, I would exempt myself and family members. What were the staff of the Nigerian Airways doing at the time? You want to travel, my brother is the director, he's the MD. They took all the rebates. They didn't pay for flight tickets. The company could not run itself on debt. Today, as we speak, federal government is owing discos on MDAs over 400 and something billion. As we speak, these discourses have gone private. That's
why Nima, of course. That's why I said we're not going to import the Nigerians from Singapore or from Nigerians. It is us, the people. So it's not about Nigerians, the government business or no business.
No.
It's us. They are the ones running it down.
The common denominator in this conversation are Nigerians.
Simple.
Yes,
across board.
Speak to Nigerians. So whether we do
what do we need to do?
But they run their own business well.
No, they don't.
Illegal.
How many Nigerian businesses are 100 years old today?
It is illegal for you.
How many Nigerian companies can boast of 100 years?
No. They don't deliberately run it down.
What I'm saying is that all those people who since 1960 that we call out today, how many of them have industries that are sustained? How many of them? Name those politicians in that once since independence. That they have companies today, they're still running. None of them.
Let me add something. We have these NGOs that come and help Nigerian businesses thrive. They give you funding and everything. Many of them will tell you the way Nigerians handle this funding. Money that is supposed to go into the project, they use it all up. So it's the same Nigerians.
It's the same Nigerians.
Whether government is in business or government is out of business. It's Nigerians.
Simple. Let me take this call.
Ideally, I do not think that government needs to be part of running any business. Just create an enabling environment.
Let me take this call. Good morning. He's been holding for a minute. Go ahead, please. Sorry
Good
for
morning,
keeping you.
Olakunle,
Yeah.
first time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I can see that the ladies are on fire this morning. But let me quickly put my thoughts together and make them quickly. Government has no business in business. And that is a fact. Because history tells us clearly that government has failed in running businesses. And based on what Morayo said, I want to stretch it a bit, that if you even look at private companies, there's none in Nigeria that has stayed 100 years. The only one you have is Alabuku. Mark me right, if I'm right or wrong. But let's go to the universities and look at it this way. Your budget presently is about maybe 1.2 trillion. You have over probably 2.2 or 2.3 million students across federal institutions. If you go on the per capita basis, you'll find out that what you are trying to spend on each of these people goes as high as about 700,000 each. It is a wrong model, and we cannot, federal government cannot continue to fund these universities. You had over less than 40 million people in 1960. Today, you have over 200 million people.
Exactly.
How do you run that kind of numbers? Today, ASUU continues to fight government and tells them, oh, we can't allow you to take money out of the universities, we can't allow you to do this, we can't allow you to do that. But look at it critically. Let me use University of Uyo as an example. As of 2021, when Professor Ogun State was there, he spent about 25 billion. All they were able to generate was probably about 10 or 11 billion. How long will we continue to run this model? And I continue to say that the whole money we have that are budgeted for education should go to primary and secondary and vocational institutions. Anybody that wants to go to the university must be able to pay for it, or else we'll continue to run mushroom universities as university will be coming 1,500 number or 2,000 in a university structure. There's nowhere in the world that it happens. Maybe the only places you can find that is in the Arab institutions and Scandinavian countries. Short of that, you don't find them anywhere else. But the truth of the matter is that we need to change this orientation. We need to start with primary and secondary school, fund them well, such that they can begin to code. Look at China for an example. 99% of their kids go to primary and secondary school. You only have 9% going to the universities. And the reason is very simple. We need to run that model so that we can grow. People are going to start 32 universities. They will get it done. They will pass the institution. And I will not blame them because there are people say they want it. But the truth of the matter is that how do we fund it when we are not running an autonomous government? Universities need to wake up. Endowment funds are there running institutions all over the world. The lecturers don't need to be lazy and they need to wake up. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olakunle. Let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue the conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this matter of, Mrs. Headcourt.
She's not me.
All right, so let me come to you, Nima. You're going to say something concerning this issue. I mean, we're talking about the fact that government really has no business doing business.
Yes,
but,
a caller called and he
ahead.
was talking about government establishing industries.
Yes.
I think what he meant to say was creating industries where our youths can be trained to be gainfully employed. We had such an example where the Petroleum Training Institute was created in Efuru. The graduates of those schools were supposed to create, because they said the oil companies must do the Nigerian percentage of employers. I'm trying to remember what that word was called.
MIT,
quota, local something quota. And the oil companies were saying we didn't have qualified hands to be employed. So they created the Petroleum Training Institute. What did they do at the end of the day? They still didn't employ them. And then at the back of it, we started having bunkering. Our pipelines started becoming vandalized because these people were given the knowledge of the business, but Nigeria refused to employ them. So we must be, intentional about where our way forward will be. So all those Korea we are copying, all those China we are talking about, they are intentional. When they train their youth, they target what they want. They even give them loans to go out to other countries and create these businesses.
But there's the point taken. There's another mentality problem because, we faced that in Lagos State when we're trying to start the comprehensive schools, because part of the solution we're trying to provide is like, listen, they're based on the pyramid that my that the commissioner had seen, that at a certain level, kids drop out. They don't even enter in SS1. So many of them from GSS, they begin to drop out for different reasons. So where we've now created comprehensive school to help from GSS 3, you can now decide if you want to stay in the academics or if you want to go to vocational. That's even before you finish. You still, at the end of the day, you still have to do your exam. Is it WAEC they do, or at the end of the 6 years? But the point is, at that GSS 3, you get to decide which path you want to go. But many parents resisted it because in their own minds, you are setting up my child not to go to university. Their own mind is that until my child enters university, he's not a person. And that's the thinking we have to change. That a child once a child is equipped from primary, basic education is extremely important. And then secondary school.
Change that mindset.
Yes.
Because that mindset did not just happen on its own.
Yeah.
It happened for a reason, that because people who had university degrees were more respected than those who had graduated from polytechnics or colleges of education. So they will all go into the job market, having spent the many years that they were all required to spend studying as hard as their counterparts in the university, and still at the job market, they were treated differently. So the mindset has to be changed at that level, which is these people are qualified, period. And then you put them in the jobs that meant for them. Don't take someone because he's university and you think he has better qualification. So that is where the mindset came from. So now, once that is changed, people would now see, when they now realize that my degree will be respected, people would now want to do that is better, that works for them best. If they will tell you if they are more inclined to go to universities or colleges of education or technical colleges, knowing that when they go out there, there's no problem. So this is an issue where, I don't want us to keep putting like Nigerians themselves are just so small-minded. They come up with these decisions out of the blue. All of us have to put our hands on the wheel and work together for a difference.
Let me take this call. Warike, thanks for calling your live.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, I'm seeing it that is some lawmaker and asking for 32 more federal universities. And I feel that it's even the universities we have on board now, we are looking at that we have a shortage of lecturers for JAPA, according to this slide. Now, when we create more universities, how do we get lecturers to those universities they are asking for? That is the question number one that we need to ask ourselves. And the little lecturers we have with those universities, the federal government cannot even fund them by requesting more salaries. When we have more lecturers and more universities, how do we fund those universities? That is why we have issue of Nigeria where you people talk about that is in 1980s, I was involved in Nigeria Airways and working that business is complimentary ticket. Big guy will come with the complimentary ticket. And complimentary ticket to London that time was arrived about 18,000 naira to London. That 18,000, you will see almost 30-something people will come with complimentary tickets. That is how that Nigeria will go. Now, this university we are talking about, if I were the lecturers, the lawmakers, I mean to say, I would have advised them to ask for technical college. That technical college will go a long way for technical things. You can graduate, you'll be on your own. You don't need to seek for government white-collar job. That will help Nigeria to reduce unemployment in this country.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Rake. I have a comment.
I want to quote Professor Muyiwa Faleye on this issue when he addressed the need, when he disagreed with the need for more institutions. He said, unfortunately, our social structure in Nigeria is such that people think that unless they go to university, you cannot be successful in life. And it's unfortunate. He said, what we need more in Nigeria are artisans and other professionals. But we have created a social structure where they are below. We tell them they cannot, until... So the person who is already qualified to do business is thinking, no, I still need an university education. And in university education, you're just better at maybe writing thesis, writing, you're not in the practical sector. You cannot put your hands and
Sometimes you cannot even
you
write.
know, sometimes you are not writing.
It's even worse off. Sometimes you can't even write. So I wanted to say that one of the reasons why it seems like governments cannot handle business is because government for so far or so long has worked without anybody being able to question them. We, the citizens, do not have the means. We do not understand what it is to question people in power. And there are no strong systems to put them in check, which is why I'm saying that government can still run the business if they are accountable to the people, if they are accountable to the system. So you have a project, you are the one handling this particular business, for instance, and you have your KPIs. You're supposed to deliver on certain things. You don't deliver, you are asked questions, you are queried, you are sacked. But you see how we run. I've never seen anybody in the government office who has been queried or sacked or anything. It doesn't happen. They carry the work like, it's not my work, it's not my work. Let me do it how I want to do it. For us to change, it's still the people, we are still the people who get there and do it a different way. For us to change, we must begin to build systems. The systems will not handle them. That's one. Secondly, the conversation of having government to create factories, we may not be there yet, but governments can begin conversations with the universities and the factories and the industries to say, come together. Okay, this bank now, what do you need? How do you want our graduates to be? What exactly do you need us to train them for? So that when they come out, you can easily employ them. And how many people we have, if you go to all the universities, we have different companies and factories and banks that are situated in the university environment because they are making money. We're not having conversations with them to say, can you employ so and so people from this university when they graduate? And what are those things you want us to train them on for those of them who are studying to be in line with this?
Right.
It's a conversation that will also help people graduate from the schools and have a job while the individuals are the ones providing the job while we're still waiting for government to wake up and do their own.
Respond to the first point you made, and maybe we can have a conversation around that. The fact that government should be able to do certain things. Sometimes I like us to look at it in a different way. Government is not a spirit. It's not a person. It's not a person. It's us, the people.
Yes.
Now imagine you and I are in government. My job is to maybe ensure that 10 million Nigerians are employed. Now, in my thinking, I have to build a rice mill, just like Lagos State did, as you said. That's my own thinking. But you see, if I do a rice mill, it's not sufficient. There's nothing I can do. It's not going to meet my 10 million jobs. So what I am supposed to do is not to create a rice mill. Is to provide an enabling environment, because I have Nigerians who are living in Singapore, who are living in Japan, who are living in London, who are living across the world, who want to invest. They have even better ideas on how to produce rice. I'm only thinking based on what I know, and what those around me know. There are Nigerians across the world who have better ideas of creating that rice that I want to create. So instead of me building a rice mill based on the knowledge I have available, let me make it easy for all of you from everywhere you are in the world, come to Nigeria, open your various businesses, and that way you employ 10 million, and I meet my objective. So it's not me building the rice mill. It's making sure that everybody who is able to invest and build the rice mill do it successfully without my direct involvement. So I hear you, but you see, government is not a spirit. It is human beings that will run it, and we cannot run it by one person's idea or one person's KPI. Your KPI is not enough to achieve a collective objective. Your KPI should be about making it open for everybody to jump in.
Yes.
Let me take this call and I'll let you respond. Okay. Good morning. Thanks for calling. Hold me for a minute. Hello? Maria?
Hello.
Go ahead. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, this is my first time calling.
Welcome to the show.
All right. Good morning, ladies. I just want to contribute on this topic.
Please.
The lawmakers, what I see in them is that they don't have anything good for us as Nigerians. These universities, they are trying to start up. They are planning. I see no reason why they are planning it. All these universities, they think they want to create. Our children are not going to attend any of these universities. And I also see that being a way of siphoning money. The government can decide to release funds for all these universities. At the end of the day, they may not even spend the money for half of the money will be siphoned. And you will discover that universities and the schools, they say they want to start up. it will have a budget of 10 years, 15 years, foundation, we've not done anything. Our children will not attend those schools. And why are we looking at all this? We think they are trying to do well for us. They are not doing well for us. Their children will never attend those schools. Thank you,
Maria. That's another angle we've not looked at, but let me let you respond. I'm going to break.
Yes. So we don't expect government to run all the businesses. That's not what we're saying. The businesses we're looking to government to run are those businesses that will attend to the basics of our needs, human needs, at least. Electricity, healthcare, maybe our some of the schools, and those shelter. Those are the things that, if every Nigerian has access to, they will have a similitude of a standard of living. Then other people will now, those people who are business inclined, can now decide to go into the rice milling and all of that with government support till today. If a businessman goes to get loan from the banks, there is no law that says government cannot wade in to make sure that the interest is minimal or not even at all. But we are paying heavily getting bank loans, and you say you're making business, you're creating an enabling environment for ease of business where people are struggling. We sit here, we have Indians and we have Chinese people come in with the money from their country without interest to come and set up here and compete with our locals. And our locals are struggling. We talked about the fact that Nigerians cannot have business that runs up to 100 years and 200 years. How do you think they're surviving in that business that they're doing? The odds are against them. We need government to step into that. If other countries can come in with money with little or no interest to succeed here, you own your locals should be able to give them money without interest for them to compete favorably. You're not even doing that.
Borrowers is listening to you now.
How much is Zanko? It's not 10,000.
No, that's trader money.
Trader money.
So we're saying in the way that government involves itself or intervenes, what have Nigerians done with it? So let's know
that the former CBN governor is still being probed.
Yes, that's right. Exactly. Thank you. Good.
Yes.
So no. I'm happy. So the CBN governor is being probed for it. Yes. So government is actually probing somebody for corruption.
But let's see how
we are finished.
Probing comes out.
We don't finish conversation.
Let's see how the probing comes out.
Let us go and
support BC.
We'll be right back. It's just Monday. Please, the week is just starting. Calm down.
No, we need to be on fire this week.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. All right, so we're going to be wrapping up on this on this topic. Let's take a few comments and wrap up.
Sir Chokusword says, great insightful conversation this one. Personally, I believe the creation of more universities at this point in our growth as a nation is a misplaced priority. To have the prosperous country we desire, we would have to develop the blue-collar sector. And he says, government has for so long run without anyone asking them. True, quoting BC. Thank God we can now at least ask questions. Thank God for democracy. He also says that the caller talking about funding primary, secondary, vocational schools, and those who want university education should pay for it, made a good point. But Gossiba says, I totally align with BC's view. All she's saying is accountability. Nobody's holding anybody responsible for doing wrong. As for me, government has business in business. Accountability is key.
You know, I have to wrap up, and I think even when I said it, I didn't realize how it struck a chord with me. That there really aren't many Nigerian companies that have lasted 100 years or even 60 years. Many of us run private companies. Many of us run our businesses. I own a biscuit company, for example. After I die, it crumbles. Many of us have businesses where I'm selling clothes. There's no guarantee that our children will come. So it's the same us that get into business, into government, and expect us to do a business that will outlive us. It's difficult. So the point is that we need to be conscious of our participation as people into our governance. Because the truth is that if other countries, Coca-Cola has done years. We have Rockefeller Centers. We have so many international organizations that are doing hundreds of years. These are people who have, over the centuries, trained themselves to run business and have that continuity. So let's also give ourselves some credit
Also, they're running these businesses in enabling environments.
Yes.
You know, a lot of them, these franchises, they come to Nigeria, they close up because the environment is not conducive.
Exactly.
So what are we doing also as a system to make sure that businesses that have started, indigenous businesses, thrive?
Thank you, ma'am.
So that's why we're saying government...
It's not about establishing the business, it's about creating that system, which you also said earlier.
Make sure that this business stays 100
so
years.
Whatever we build on it lasts. And that's where we need to do
that.
Focus
their successors know the business before they choose a university education. They grow in the business. Their kids don't go to school in Nigeria. They go to school in their country.
Kids don't go to school in Nigeria.
It's the same thing. But when we are raising our own kids, while we are running our business, the child goes away for a number of years, misses the entire business, then comes back to come and run it aground.
And run it
with which experience. Then the enemy that is trained, that knows the business, you now say you cannot be promoted over my child.
So this is widespread. But unfortunately, we have to
just few instances like that.
But in a nutshell, I think generally we all agree that yes, we need more universities, but it's not the focus right now.
No.
I think lawmakers shouldn't use this as some kind of a cheap political bargain for their constituents. This is the time for us to focus on what we require per time. And 32 universities is hardly.
I brought you a faculty of law.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay, so we have to go into our next topic because we're going to be bringing in our caller very soon. Our guest actually, she's going to be joining us on phone. We'll be looking at the plight of homeless Nigerians in diaspora. According to the report, the chairman and CEO of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, Honorable Abeokuta Erewa, urged Nigerians traveling abroad to do so legitimately and with proper documentation to avoid unpleasant consequences. So joining us on the show at this point very soon is the Controller of Nigeria Immigration Service, Murtala Mohammed Airport, Mrs. Adeola Adeshoko. She will join us in a moment, but before we get her on, you can join the conversation on the numbers on your screen, 090-241-63440, 081-076-41679. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read the tweet. So we saw really disturbing videos about Nigerians who were camped outside a parking lot or an open space. And the videos were showing people, they were camped outside, they had tents, and that was where they were living now. As the cold season, the winter season is coming up, they are scared of what's going to happen because according to the report that we saw, somebody actually already died. And they're really fearful of more deaths, especially when the winters come and it gets really cold. And they're seeing what the government, maybe local or international, the government will do to help them in some way. And this is why the Honorable Abeokuta Erewa was saying that Nigerians who are going abroad must ensure they go with the right papers and go legitimately, because when you don't do that, this is what happens. Let me come to the ladies. What are your thoughts on this before we bring in our customs controller?
I don't want to talk.
Don't want to talk about immigration matters.
It's very sad.
Yeah, it's actually sad because, I was looking at it. I said, who are these Nigerians actually? It would be nice to also know how they got there. Are these people without proper papers? Are these people who have lost their jobs? Are these people who have just lost accommodation? Because, as we know, globally, there are all sorts of economic problems right now. Yeah. So, if this is just about papers, when will Nigerians learn? It's not enough to just say you sell everything, pack up and go. Because, I was actually discussing with someone recently and she was like, all this JAPA everyone is talking about, she sat down to calculate and she realized she's too poor to JAPA. So, and that this amount of money that people put towards that, if she had that money, she knows where she will be here in Nigeria. So why are people putting all that money just to end up in this situation? It's actually sad. And, now they're calling from there for the federal government to come and help. I hope that's what they want, that maybe the best our country can do is try and bring them back so that they can come home and enjoy some sunlight.
The issue is not so much of the JAPA. For me, the issue is Nigerians liking shortcuts and not liking to do the right thing. Sometimes many of us want to travel, we don't go online.
So are these just people that don't have papers?
Well, I'm assuming that these ones don't have papers because if you go there legitimately, there's a procedure on how you get settled in. Yeah. So many Nigerians, instead of them going to the Canadian embassy, for example, going online to check the proper procedure. You get an agent. Oh, I know one brother that does, one uncle, and they introduce you to the uncle. The uncle now says, you just send me this amount of money, I'll process the papers for you. You want to sit down in your house, and they call you tomorrow, your paper is ready. Go and buy your ticket, start going tomorrow. That's what Nigerians want. Half the time. I'm just saying, many Nigerians want to make a call and let uncle process all the documentation and then bring it to them. And it's when you do that, you get stuff like this. But we don't want to sit down and go and do documentation. That's some cases where people use agents. And it's these agents that dupe Nigerians and get you to come abroad without ensuring that you have the right documentation to be in the country, in some cases.
I may be wrong, but I don't think that's how it happens in this case. I know that sometimes you go to you're trying to travel, and then you get to the embassy, and they turn you back. You don't get the visa. You try 1 year, 2 years. I've seen people who have tried for 10 years to relocate, and they don't get it. And then there are other options. People now say, oh, there's somebody who can arrange it for you to go through the sea, or go through the container, or go through this place and jump the fence, you know. You now look for that option because you have failed trying to go through the right way. And because you're desperate enough to travel, any option that comes, you're okay with it. And I think that's how they end up here. Because if you go through the right channels, right? I have a few friends who relocated just a few months back. Before they even got there, there was a job. There were jobs waiting for them. Yeah. They had their papers, everything was done. It took them years to get there, but they waited it out. They were doing their work here while they sorted out everything. As they got there, they got into their job, they got into their little apartments. They are okay now and they are progressing, right? But what I see is the desperation of, I have tried so many times, I must go either which way. And that's how they end up here. And also, I don't know what it is that they want the federal government to do for them right now. Let us be real in this conversation. The government has not finished attending to us that we are here, right? We still have issues that we are holding the government to do for us. What do you want now? Do you want to come back? Because sometimes you ask them questions, they don't want to come back. They believe that once I am there, however I find my life is easier for me, there is no shame there. Nobody knows me there. I can do anything and survive there than coming home to where neighbor is looking at me, auntie is calling me shameless and all of that. So they would rather stay there. We need to ask them what they want. And repatriating people who go voluntarily on their own and get into this kind of crisis, there's a lot of money on the government.
Of course.
Do we have the resources to be asking this airpiece now to go and bring them back? And can we afford it right now?
But we know what them freeze to death.
Also, I don't think it's even practical for them to come back. Most of them are coming back to nothing. Some sold their houses, took loans to go. And they knew they were not going with the right papers. Some have connecting flights. They will stop. Maybe you're going to Trinidad and Tobago. You have a connecting flight at the US. You quickly stop there. Now be seeking asylum. You declare gay. You will declare all of that. Everything LGBT to qualify. Right. We know the realities of how Nigerians are trying to go there. I saw a video of some who were trying to get asylum into Canada from America, and the official was now reading out a riot act or something to them. And I saw able-bodied, healthy, elite Nigerians who could read, most from the South. Hardly do you see a northerner involved in this. Say, yes, ma, yes, yes, at the border. I just cannot imagine myself in such a place. I just can't. I'm too dignified a Nigerian to go and start from that point. Okay. So we put ourselves through this. At the end, we're looking at the end goal, whatever justifies. Once the Nigerian finally gets the asylum, is able to balance out, what he does first is pepper them back home. He does a video. Nobody talks about the journey down there. I know someone who had a bakery, 2. And somebody opened another bakery opposite his bakery. That one had a delivery van. He's not to find the facility for a delivery van. Simple. He sold it and went through Libya.
No, when you say that,
our guest is here. Okay. I'll come back to you, Miriam. Our guest, we have our Customs Controller of Nigeria Service, Immigration Service, actually, at the Murisala Mohammed Airport, Mrs. Adeola Adeshokon. Good morning, madam. Are you there? Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Good to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us.
Yes,
nice voice.
Yes.
So we're talking about Nigerians who are relocating and immigrating without the proper documentations. Could you give us some insight from your own office?
Okay. Thank you, everyone. It's right now, what people do not understand is there are a lot of differences between regular migration and irregular migration. The irregular one that most Nigerians go through is a form of movement across the border without them having prerequisites requirements in terms of entry and staying in their country of destination. For example, there are about 3, people call it twin evil, twin crime, smuggling of migrants and trafficking in person. Some will even sell their products and go legally, but they do not have requirement to stay in that country. Probably they are giving you a visa, a visiting visa, and you are carrying all your family members. You just want to go to Canada. You want to go to America. So number one, you will eventually cross the border, though legally, but getting there, you become an illegal immigrant. So we need to spell it out so that we can tell Nigerians and the younger generations that it's not that it's bad to travel, but when you want to travel, it's good to travel legally, to travel, in such a way that you will be able to stay in that country. People call it twin, I call it triplets. That triplet is even going up now. I will tell you, the first one is smuggling of migrants. The people that speak to our younger generation, they said, I can cross through Libya. All you need to do is give me a particular amount of money. I will take you across. And before you know it, you are landing in Italy. So that smuggling of migrants, they go through illegal routes, through pains. Some will stay in an hotel, so to say, and harass them, give them money. Then they pass through the IC. Some die. Some will not reach their destination. The smugglers will just collect their money, so heavy amounts of money, and that's all. They don't have a relationship with them. But the one that is terrible is trafficking in person. That person might be your auntie, your brother. I have a job in Iraq, Baghdad. I will bring you across. Don't worry. We do that by deception, coercion, and different, for the reason of exploitation. But unknown to these younger ones, they will trust their uncle, they will trust their brother. In Nigeria, we have plenty uncles, a village uncle, city uncle. Yeah. They will just go across until they get there. Then they will now begin to understand that this is not a game. The third one that we don't talk about is stow away. People enter into the ship without having an idea how long they will get to that destination. We have stories, we have pictures, we have experience, because anytime all these 3 categories find themselves abroad, guess what? International organization will bring all of them together and they will pass through this gateway. It is when they come back that I receive them. When you hear the harrowing stories they have gone through, they will say, Madam, please, can you take us, video us, hear us firsthand, so that others who are planning on this journey of no return can hear it. So when I started hearing about their story, I was posted here last year, I found out that what we read and write about smuggling of migrants, people traveling abroad, is different from the story they bring back. And that story, nobody's hearing, is a gunpowder. We need to go out. Based on that, we started, sitting down, looking at the books again. Let's start going out and sensitize this younger one. Okay. They will never know that this is what they will be meeting over there. If we keep quiet and we do not tell them, how do we stop it? So we started adopting a program by the service headquarters under the Controller General of Immigration, Madam Wura Adepoju, that we should go to schools. We now go and enact a club so that we can tell these children, because who is the person that is talking to your children first? They listen to them. Please, we are not saying you shouldn't travel, but read your book. Study. You can even go abroad and become a doctor. Beat the best to become the best. But from now, make sure that you are not nursing ambition. When I finish my secondary school, oh, that is all. I'm traveling out. To go and do what?
Okay, let me put you on a quick break. Let me just go on a 1 minute break. I'll be right back. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We still have the controller of Nigerian Immigration Service, Mr. Adiola Adesogun. You were saying earlier, we just wanted to know, so for your office, for example, you don't get to interface with these migrants when they leave. It's only until they come back that you get to interface with them, because we're thinking of, is there something, is there an office you can use to support them when they travel, just to give them insights on how to get around as they're settling into the new countries or their host countries?
Yes, that is, we are saddled with the responsibility of control of both entry and exit. If you check my statistics, what we do is when people come back, we take their stories, we put it into a clip, we show them when they're about to go. We tell them, listen to people who have gone to Dubai, who have gone to India. This is their story. And we have been able to achieve a greater result that some of them said, if this is what is happening, then we will not go. When some of them are because they come back in droves, please. Like in a week, I can actually have nothing less than about 80. So I keep them in a particular room with those who we have apprehended, don't go. But you know, when you tell people don't go, they say, after all, there are people that are there. They are adults. Surviving. They are matured. The law will not allow you to stop an adult who have a visa, who have a visa obtained from the right source. We also have a passport from the right source. But when they hear the story, some of them, we have a clip, they say, please, we are no longer going. Then they will now start confessing. I said, please, I'm a woman. I also have children like you. Please don't go. This is the story. For example, there's Betty. Betty came back from us, from India. Actually, Betty was lured by a sister who said, now the father is dead, and please let me come and help you in India. I'm doing well. To go and come and be selling something in the boutique. Do you know when Betty got to India, the moment she arrived, that same night, the sister took away the phone and said, oh yeah, go with this man, you are starting prostitution. This girl, I'm telling you, life story, the video is here with me. I have clips upon clips that you will cry. When she was talking, we were all weeping. Then she was left in the cold. Nothing. Every night, not one, not two, not three men. She became sick. When she got sick, then she didn't know what to do. Eventually, one person she befriended said, please, can I have access to the Facebook? Then she put her name there in the Facebook. that she's looking for a family member. You know, the father is dead. And the mother she told me that her mother wanted her not to go. It was that uncle that contacted the Nigerian High Commission in India, and they were able to locate her and brought her back. What about Ore in Iraq? Ore went to Iraq to go and work. On getting there, she had appendix, right?
Varsities.
And she now told me, yes, she said, please, I need to go to the hospital. I'm not feeling very well. That man, you know, the people that employed her took her to another person that he cannot afford the hospital bill, but they will be able to assist in that bill. But Ore was a very smart girl. I don't know, you know, someone like me, even if you speak many languages, I might not be able to hear, but she has started picking a little languages of theirs. It was then we said, well, if they operate on her and remove the appendix, then they will also take one kidney out. It was when she heard that her kidney would be removed. I don't know how she got my phone. She contacted me because the moment she contacted me, I contacted Madam Abeokuta. I said, this is a Nigerian stranded there. She's so intelligent. She has a phone. She was able to share her location. With the help of Madam Abeokuta and other agencies, NAPTIP, all of us, we were able to bring this girl back. The day she came back, we were all celebrating here. She will have gone there, died.
Wow.
I have clips. People will go there and they will be walking.
Let me just get in one question for you before we wrap up. Go ahead, Mary.
So I assume these are some of the videos you also show in schools when you go. But, you know, yes, but, you know, I'm curious to know if, like the first story you told us, that her sister, you know, involved her in prostitution. Is there something that we do also with the government of that country to make sure that people like that, Nigerians like that, taking advantage of Nigerians abroad, are apprehended?
That is what we are doing with the Nigeria in diaspora. And that's why we've been together. You know, there are a lot of ways to combat it. So we work with the Interpol, we work with NAPTIP, we work with a lot of security and sister agencies to ensure that this, and Madam Abeokuta actually will go to the High Commission here and sit them down. That's why the act has been enacted. So we engage, but more importantly, I'm using this opportunity to even invite you. NYC is there. They have given us an approval again that we should come and talk about this JAPA syndrome. We will go there and talk to people, sensitize them, give them the true picture. What they think is greener pasture is not. It might look like that, but it is not. If we don't tell our younger generation, many people in the village, they will be distributing, donating their children. Uncle, this is taking my baby to abroad to go and work and learn trade. It's not true. We are going to come this December 18. We are going to the markets. We will walk and trek to the market and tell the market women, please don't release your children anyhow without knowing where they are going to. Right. And what we also want to go to Motor Park, you will see us trekking with the megaphone.
I think I'll let you
more
go.
People
Yeah.
about the dangers.
Thank you very much. So much. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for enlightening us on this. We really appreciate you joining us on the show. Let me come back to the list before we wrap up. I mean, what are your thoughts? This is very difficult to...
Okay, so migration is good. Migration is okay, but let's do it for the right reasons. Let's not... There's this wind of condemning your country and looking for any option, whether good or bad, just to make it justify that condemnation that you're giving to your country. And it's not going to pay us Nigerians. Before we were born, after we will pass, people would leave this country and do better outside. But this bandwagon of go at all costs and live and put up in this kind of tents that we have is not befitting of us. It should not be a way to migrate. And there's another part. It should also be a way to go through the Sahel at any cost.
And there's another part that we didn't mention, the fact that it is Nigerians sometimes manipulating the system. It's the Nigerians also the ones luring innocent Nigerians. So we also must show love to use them. So we must also do right by our people. let's not make them do things that are illegal just because of our own personal selfishness. It's wrong. These people bringing them to these countries without proper documentation is wrong. So this is not a government here, because every small thing is government's problem. It is us Nigerians doing this to ourselves. You know, there's also the angle of, even now you now get there illegally. Nigerians don't come together to support. There's another video that was trending with that man that was complaining that Nigerians, because we know we are illegal, a Nigerian company will employ you, and because they know I'm illegal, I pay you way beyond minimum wage because you cannot run away. So I pay, and then they're complaining.
It's the consequences.
They're complaining because you can't shop. Yeah, way below, and they're suffering. So these are all, and also Nigerians who are doing good baking bread for those in the shelters. This woman in the video was actually there to support, giving them free bread, stuff to support their living so they don't die. You know,
the government catches her, so she will join them and go back.
Why not?
Everybody needs to at some point learn to protect yourself. But first of all, we need to change the mindset of anywhere but Nigeria. Yeah. That's what just brings this. Anywhere, even if you I'm wondering, Iraq, is Iraq better than Nigeria? I don't think so. But anywhere but Nigeria is what is making, I'm telling you, very ridiculous countries.
We have to wrap.
Everybody just wants
that
to
is
go.
all we can take on today's show. Hope you learned a few things as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.